Today's topic, we're going to talk about graphing linear equations using intercepts. What are intercepts? The intercepts of a line are simply the ordered pairs where the line crosses either the x-axis or the y-axis. So for example, we have this line here. The line crosses the x-axis at this ordered pair, -5, 0, at this coordinate, -5, 0. This right here is called the x-intercept, because it intersects the x-axis. Up here we have the y-intercept because the line crosses the y-axis at this point right here, this ordered pair of 0, 3. So this is the y-intercept. Might ask, there is something special about the intercepts. For the x-intercept, the thing that's special about the x-intercept is the y value will always be 0. The reason for that is the x-intercept is on the x-axis. And if you notice, when we're on the x-axis, the y value for the x-axis is always 0. All right, we're completely flat. The origin is here, and we haven't moved up or down from the origin. So the y value is always going to be 0 for an x-intercept. Just the opposite when we're talking about a y-intercept is always going to have an x value of 0. Reason for that is the y-intercept crosses the y-axis, and when it crosses the y-axis, we're right on the y-axis. We haven't moved left or right at all. Origin is 0, 0. We haven't moved to the left or to the right at all. We're just sitting right on the line. So that means that the x-coordinate has to be 0. So that's what's special about a y-intercept, is the x-coordinate is always 0. Now we're going to look at this line right here. What we want to do is we want to tell where is the x-intercept and where is the y-intercept. Well, if you remember back from our definition, the x-intercept is always where it crosses, where this line crosses the x-axis, that exact point where it crosses the x-axis. Well, the x-axis is here and the line is crossing at this point right there. So what we want to do is we want to write a coordinate for that point. If we find the coordinate for this point, that coordinate is where our x-intercept is. So the coordinate for this point is -2, comma, -2 to the left. Well, we're not up and down at all, and we know that the special case for an x-intercept is y is always 0. So the coordinate for the x-intercept is -2, 0. Our y-intercept is always going to be where the line crosses the y-axis, and the line crosses the y-axis at this point right here. So if we figure out what the coordinate is for the y-intercept here, if we know what the coordinate is, that will be our y-intercept. So let's go up 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like we're 4 up on the y-axis. So our coordinate is going to be, well, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We're 4 up on the y-axis, but we're not going left or right at all. The special case for the y-intercept is that x is always 0, because no matter what, we're on the y-axis, so that x value is 0. So the coordinate for the y-intercept is 0, 4. Alright, now we're going to graph the following line using the intercepts. Well, we've got an x-intercept, which is 3, and a y-intercept, which is -2. First thing we need to do is we need to actually write out the coordinate. Well, the coordinate for the x-intercept is going to be 3, 0, because we know an x-intercept, the y value is always 0. For the y-intercept, y-intercept's -2, our coordinate's going to be 0, because we know x, for a y-intercept, x is always 0, 0, -2. So now we just have to graph these on this coordinate plane. We just got to mark the points and then draw a line between them. The x-intercept is 3, 0, so let's go to the origin count over 1, 2, 3, and let's mark that point right there. The y-intercept is 0, -2. 0 for x means we're not going to go left to right, so we just go down 2, 1, 2, and mark that point. Now we can connect the dots. And there's our line. Now we're going to try another. We're going to graph the following line using the intercepts again. Again, we have the x-intercept is -4, so we need to write the coordinate first. The coordinate for the x-intercept, -4, x always goes first, -4, comma, 0. The y-intercept is 5. Remember, x goes first, and for a y-intercept, x is always 0. So 0, comma, 5. Now that we have those two coordinates, we can plot those. Let's plot the x-intercept first. -4, comma, 0. That means go down to the origin and then go to the left 4. It says 4, comma, 0, -4, comma, 0, so we're right there. We're right on the x-axis. The y-intercept is 0, comma, 5. Start at the origin. X being 0 means we don't go left to right, so we just go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark it. Now we're going to draw a line between these 2 points. And we have our graph. That's how you graph using x and y intercepts. Here's the 5-step method of graphing using intercepts. You can use this on any linear equation to graph using the intercept method. We're going to use these 5 steps in the next couple of examples. Now we're going to graph using intercepts. We're going to use the 5-step method to do this. Step 1, plug 0 in for y and solve for x. So we're going to plug 0 into this equation and solve it for x. So we have 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 6. 3 times 0 is 0, so we have 2x equals 6. Divide by 2 on each side, and x equal 3. Now we have to write the coordinate real quick. Our coordinate, when x equals 3, our coordinate is 3, comma, 0, because we plugged 0 in for y. That means our y coordinate, or y part of this coordinate, is 0. So our x-intercept is 3, comma, 0. Step 2, graph 3, comma, 0. 1, 2, 3. Make a nice pretty dot. Now we're going to go to step 3. Plug 0 in for x. We're going to plug 0 in for x now and solve for y. 0 in for x, solve for y. So we're going to get 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 6. 2 times 0 is 0, so we have negative 3y equals 6. Divide by negative 3 on each side, and y equals negative 2. Now we need to write this coordinate. Y equals negative 2, so we can write our coordinate here, and we can plug negative 2 in for the y. And we plug 0 in for x at the beginning, so that means our x part of this coordinate is 0. So our y-intercept is 0, comma, negative 2. Step 4 is to mark this. So we're going to take this, mark this on the graph. 0, negative 2 is right there. Step 5, all you got to do is connect the dots. We're going to take our little arrow and draw a line right through it. And that's how you graph using intercepts. Here's another example of graphing using intercepts. Again, we're going to use the 5-step method. Step 1, plug 0 in for y, solve for x. 0 in for y, solve for x. So we get negative 4x plus 0 equals 4. Well, we know that's just going to be negative 4x equal 4. Divide by negative 4 on each side, and x is going to equal negative 1. So now we can write the coordinate. Negative 1, x equal negative 1. The coordinate is negative 1, comma, well, we plug 0 in for y, so it's negative 1, comma, 0. Step 2 is to graph this. We're going to mark this point on the graph. Negative 1, comma, 0 is right here. Step 3, plug 0 in for x, solve for y. So 0 in for x, solve for y. 0x, solve for y. So you get negative 4 times 0 plus y equals 4. Negative 4 times 0, 0, so y equals 4. We got to write the coordinate. Now we plug 0 in for x at the beginning, so we got 0, comma, what the y value is, which is 4, 0, comma 4. Step 4, graph this, plot this point on the graph. 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, mark it. Step 5, connect the dots. Here's our third and final example. This one includes a fraction. So before you start this equation, because I have this written 2/3, I would rewrite this. Y equals 2/3 x minus 4. Remember, 2/3 means 2 divided by 3 or 2 over 3 in a fraction form. First step in solving this or graphing this using intercepts, plug 0 in for y. We're plugging 0 in for y and solving for x. 0 in for y, solving for x. So 0 equals 2/3 x minus 4. Solve this, we're going to add 4 to each side. Get x by itself. So 4 equals 2/3 x. Then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Multiplying this by 3 halves here, so the 3's cancel, the 2's cancel. Multiply this side by 3 halves. So that's 3 halves times 4. That's going to be 3 halves times 4 over 1. So 3 times 4 is 12 over 2 equals x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So x equals 6. We got to write the coordinate. If x is 6, y is 0 because we plugged 0 in for y at the beginning. So our y part of the coordinate is 0. 6, 0 is our coordinate. Now we got to go to step 2 and actually plot this on the graph. So 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember to start at the origin. Now we're going to go on to step 3, which is to plug 0 in for x, solve for y. 0 in for x, solve for y. So we get y equals 2/3 times 0 minus 4. 2/3 times 0 is just 0, so y equals negative 4. Negative 4 is our y value. Now we need to write the coordinate. We have an x value of 0 because we plugged 0 in for x at the beginning. 0 went in for x, so it's 0, comma, negative 4 for y. Go on to step 4, which is to plot this point on the graph. 0, comma, negative 4, 0, starting at the origin. We don't go left to right, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Plot the point. Step 5, connect the dots and draw your line.